All right, so I'm back once again, and do want to say that I want y'all to participate in the survey. I'm gonna keep on continuing it. Right now, we're at 81. If you don't include myself, we're at 80, but everything helps, and I'm glad that y'all actually did participate in it. It kind of revealed a lot of things about the formula that I'm was currently using and certain things that needs to be adjusted in terms of the formula and also of the rating systems like the percentages and stuff like that and the rank orders. I will readjust it. I will say right off the bat that I did notice some things. I will also say that every person did get a vote, whether it's male or female. Every celebrity that was on this survey got a vote at the end. So let's get started, and I'm gonna just, when I go through it, I'm gonna talk about a couple of things that I did notice, and I wish that I also put certain things within the survey, but I noticed that the more things I do add into it, the less people will finish the survey. I believe that the average time limit was around 4 minutes, so it took people around 4 minutes and 7 seconds to finish the survey. Some were quick and some were slow, but it depends on how fast people take to analyze a person's face. All right, so for the male side, so I'm gonna explain this real quick. So the male side, I have 18.5 through 6.5%, and that is just so when I say 18.5, that means that you're like 18.5% of the best looking people within a certain group, which is, let's say, the male side. And then 6.5 is also the same thing, 6.5% of the best looking men within your group. And then you have a 12% difference between it. So that's like the average. So on average, it will be a person who's a 6.5 versus a person who's an 18.5. So that would just be a 12% gap. And then you can also see that for the female side, which is 1%, and 12%, which is 11% difference. The only reason why I did this is because I didn't want to make it too obvious to where you have an average person going against a really attractive person. I wanted to make the gap as close as possible. So technically you can say this is kind of like a Chad versus a Chad light in a way. And I wanted to make it hard enough to where the other gender, or actually no, my fault, the same gender would have a hard time being able to see the differences. That was my thought in it. And yeah, so that's the only reason why I kept it kind of close. I didn't want it to be where, you have a 1% guy in terms of attractiveness going against a person who's 50%, which is average. I didn't want that at all. The difference is going to be too drastic. That's why I said every person here has a vote. All right, the next thing is correct. So how many men got the female side correct? So it's only just 20 females for that side. Obviously it's 40 celebrities in total, but we're looking at the female side because that's the male gaze, the opposite gender, and 90% got the female side right for the men. All right, that's for the men celebrities. 90% knew what females find attractive versus 65%. I noticed that men, they have a more wider range of what they deem to be attractive. It's almost kind of hard to gauge what men like. For females, it's almost easy. It's like we already know. It's like they have somewhat of like a sheep mentality, like they just follow along each other. But men is kind of like dispersed. It's like a wider range of what they deem to be attractive. So that's one thing that I do notice. It's just like a wider just range. The rating system, and another thing why it's 65 is because I only got 10 votes. So a lot of the females were kind of stuck on who they really did find attractive for the male side. So that's men voting for the female gays or for voting for the female celebrities. And I believe they were probably having a hard time deciding, because obviously, some of the females were like very attractive. Both females were very attractive, so it was kind of like 50-50 split. So I couldn't give the whole point, so I just gave half. That's why it's at 65%. The rating system is obviously the rating system that I used. I got 90% right for the men's side, and then 70% right for the female side. And meaning that when I say 70%, I'm talking about for the female celebrity side, when the men are voting for the female side, versus the same thing or the opposite thing for the men celebrity side. So it's more easier to understand the female gaze, but it's a little bit tougher to understand for the male gaze. And then obviously 70 votes for the men and then 10 votes for the female. All right, so I'm gonna just explain what's going on real quick. So the only thing that y'all should look at is the middle portion right now, which is the female gaze. That's it. Nothing else matters. Even though it's only 10 votes, and I hope that more people participate in the survey, which will make things better. Only look at the female gaze, all right? That's the only thing that matters. And I will be, like I said again, I will be updating my the formula and the everything else. And this is the same thing that guys like, for example, Creative Attractiveness use, and other people who rate faces. This is the same type of formula too. So I'm willing to make changes if it needs to be, to make things more accurate. All right. So as you can see here, female gaze 70%, and then that's for Simonis fam, and then Henry Golden got 30%. So obviously fam won, and then Daniel, and we have Kim, and Kim won this one, 70-30. And another thing too that I did notice is I noticed that the older females, meaning like age 30 and plus, they normally vote for the men that look more older and more mature in the face. So that's something that I did quite notice. Now we have Diego and Richard. Obviously people picked Richard. Even for the male gaze, people picked Richard as well. And then the next one, we have Aaron Hernandez and Ryan Garcia. Ryan won this one. And I also, in the survey, I said do not take physique into account, because I believe Aaron Hernandez physique was exposed to, and I had a feeling that people may be biased on that. So Roshan and Zayn, and obviously he won that one by 80 and 20. And the bottom, so the attractiveness rating for the bottom, that was for my rating system. Like I said, there was 11% difference and a 12% difference. What I did was I just kind of like took a ratio on it, and that ratio is the percentage that y'all see on the bottom. Sometimes it can be very extreme. Like I said again, for the female side, for example, it was 1% all the way down to I think 12%. So that was 11% difference. So it can kind of look a bit extreme at times, but all you got to understand is what's green is the person who I believe that won based off of the system, and then red is the person who I believe is going to lose against the person that they're competing with. All right, so Hadid and Sindar Murphy, and I mean, this was no surprise at all. Yeah, and the men too also got it pretty similar. I was actually kind of surprised how close this guy was though. Mukasa and LaMelo, I was expecting a blowout, but that's not the case. And then Austin Dunham and Jeremy Meeks. I know this is gonna surprise some people, but people picked Austin Dunham over Jeremy Meeks. And it was the opposite for the male gaze. More people thought Jeremy Meeks would win, but that's not the case. And another thing too is, as you can see, they don't have their shirts on, or their physiques are exposed. In the actual picture, their physiques wasn't really in the picture because they were wearing a shirt. So yeah. Jeffrey and Simon. Now, Jeffrey for the female side didn't get any votes, but he did get 1 vote for the male side. I don't even know how, but that's just what it was. And then Ben Shapiro and Elvis. Now, the rating system got this one wrong. I will admit that. And I also do want to say this, is that it is somewhat kind of close too, because for my rating system, as you can see, it says 53.8%, and then 46.2%. So it's kind of like almost balanced. It's not too far distinct from each other. And as you can see, 40-60, so it's not 50-50 or anything like that, but it's kind of close. I wish that I had more females that voted, because it would be more of an accurate reading. For the men's side, it's almost kind of like, I kind of have an idea based off of the patterns, so it's pretty stable. Obviously 70 people that voted, so that's all the amount of men that I need for this survey to get a good idea or to get a good grasp. But if it's only 10, it gives me an idea, but it's not enough to where I can definitely say that this is what they find attractive. So we have Kim and Lisa. And now this is a little bit different, because we're looking at the male gaze for the female celebrity side. So yeah, and then as you can see, for the attractiveness rating, I got 99 and then 1. Not that it is 99 and 1, but that's how high she was in terms of attractiveness. So she was probably like a 0.002% or something like that. So that's why you see that big of a gap. But yeah. And then for the female side, or for the female gaze, they can kind of see the same thing too. So it's not that different. Now, another thing too is the female gaze is 50-50. So I gave half a point. I just can't give the full point, because it's literally 50-50. If there was more votes, then I know damn well it would not be 50-50 at all. But I just gave half a point just to play it safe. But yeah, Jung won. I'm not really surprised that Lucy lost, even though myself, I did pick Lucy though. Malu lost this one. Now, I completely got this one wrong. I will admit that. I have no clue what happened here. I'm not even gonna lie. This one was lopsided. It wasn't even close. And it's like, I'm ashamed to even show this, but yeah, something has to be done here. But for the female gaze, as you can see, nobody picked AOC. For the male gaze, I think only like a few people, like 5 people picked AOC. But majority of people picked Jessica. And obviously that's a younger picture of Jessica too, so keep that in mind. But yeah, so things like this right here, for the female gaze, it didn't do too bad. But for the male gaze, there were some that was just completely off, and I need to take a look at that. So 50-50 again, I gave half a point. And oh yeah, this one was off as well. I'm surprised that people picked the Wizard Liz as high as they did. I don't think it should have been that big of a gap, but like I said again, I'm gonna take a look at this as well, see what it is. I did take a look at it, and what I noticed that Deepika, she actually had the right ratios compared to the Wizard Liz for all the features that are rated the highest or count the most. So this one is kind of throwing me off a bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. It shouldn't be that close, or I mean not that close, that separated apart. This one kind of surprised me actually. And I mean, she did do better on the feminine traits. I don't know. I'm gonna have to take a look on this one, but this one did surprise me out of all of them, actually. So we got Lily and Khan. 50-50 again. I just gave half a point. And yeah, this one wasn't really too much of a surprise, but yeah, that was a pretty big rating gap between both of them at 2.8 and 97.2. But like I said again, if they're that extreme on the attractiveness, sometimes you might get a difference that wide. Okay, so we got Vlad and Cameron. And yeah, for the male gaze, it was 72.29. And then for the male gaze, for Cameron Brinks, it was 25.71%. And then for the female, it kind of followed along around the same trajectory. And for mine, it's a little bit on the extreme at 98.5 and 1.5. Not that it is 98.5. It's just that, like I said again, if they're that much good looking on the extreme level, and I gave them a rating of 0.001% or something like that, then it will give a bigger gap that you see right here. All right, so we have Arena and we have Kylie. I will say this. Now for the male gaze, now this is close to 50-50. And at one point, Arena was winning in the beginning, but not anymore, as you can clearly see. And then obviously my attractiveness rating, like I said again, the gap, and obviously because she was that high on the extreme end, and Arena wasn't that far behind, by the way. She was up there too. But I will say this. I think the history of some of these celebrities did either favor them or hinder them. Mostly hinder them. Now, like for example, Jeremy Meeks obviously favored him, right? Everybody knows Jeremy Meeks for being this good-looking criminal, so I guess that more men are gonna choose Jeremy Meeks over Austin Dunham. But for Kylie, people know that what they're looking at isn't 100% authentic, so they're gonna just choose Arena by default. But it's not about that. It's not about the past or the history or what you know about them. It is just what you see in front of you is what you get. Pick what looks better. That's it. Don't think about other things as well, or is she on her prime or none. Whatever is in front of you, they have no makeup on. Pick. That was it. And I know some dudes, I know how they are. They get it in their head sometimes. And I'm just so glad before I even did this whole survey, by the way, that I went into people's DMs and I told them to just do this real quick, do the survey that I've made. This is before I even set this whole thing up. And I just asked questions like, why'd you pick this person? Why'd you pick that person? For the male and for some females. And, you know, just get interesting responses too. So that's why I said, like, don't let the history get in the way of things. So Janelle Monáe and Ruby Rose, this actually surprised me too. It wasn't supposed to be this close. I am just blown away by how close and how good Janelle Monáe did. Like, the females really thought Janelle Monáe was going to be Ruby Rose. And for the longest, I heard Ruby Rose was really just gorgeous to most dudes. So I thought she was going to, I mean, she won, but not by too much. And then obviously my rating system got it right, but the gap is kind of on the wider side. And Ruby Rose wasn't like at the extreme end or anything like that. So, but there was a pretty good separation as well in between. And then we got Lala and then Ash Cash. I got this one completely wrong. I'm surprised that Lala lost this one. I feel like my rating system was accurate with this. But I wasn't really, I don't know. This is why I'm so glad that I did this. So I can try to fix some things and understand why it may be wrong. Like, as you can clearly see, I know, because, you know, they might be wearing makeup and stuff like that, so you might not tell. But Lala has more, she's more of a, she has a more of a leaner face. That's the first thing I noticed. Like, if you see Ash Cash, her face is not as lean as Lala's. So I do take things like that into consideration. But anyway, she lost this one, obviously, because 31% to 68% from the male, and the female kind of follow as well. So yeah, but that's it for it. I mean, I will be making some changes. I didn't do too well on the male gaze, but I did pretty good on the female gaze. But it seems like I need to make some more changes. Getting 4 wrong out of how many? Like 20. So that's like 80%, which I'm not really happy with. I'm still a little bit taken back by the Wizard Liz. The Wizard Liz one was one that kind of confused me because, like I said again, in terms of just ratios and numbers for each and every important feature that mattered, like the high cheekbones, the Wizard Liz cheekbones wasn't really that high compared to the Pika. So I didn't quite understand. I don't know, just certain things, but yeah, just something that you have to just review and just see where I feel like I kind of got wrong. But anyway, this was the point of this whole thing. I wish I did get more female voters. That would have made things very interesting. Don't take the female gaze too seriously, only because it's only 10 and I need way more than 10. I really need at least triple that, if not more, to get a good gauge. But for the men's side, it was quite interesting. Because men have a more wider range of what they deem to be attractive, while for females is kind of like more narrow. And the only real difference really between for the female gaze is that really just the age concept. Some older women like the mature look versus the younger females like the younger females like the younger look. So that's the only true difference. But yeah, that's it. And make sure to like, subscribe, and make sure to drop a like. And yeah, I'm out.